Yo, what's going down, film fans? Your homie Jay Green back right now with my review for The Smashing Machine. No, this is not a documentary on the Bang Bus. This is actually on mixed martial artist and UFC champion Mark Kerr, and it was written and directed by Benny Safdie of, you guessed it, the Safdie brothers, who have given us such films like Good Time and Uncut Gems. And this movie stars Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Now, off the top, like I said, this is a documentary biography, if you will, of Mark Kerr and his journey through mixed martial arts, UFC swag, his overseas fights, his American fights, his training, his relationship, all these different types of things. We see The Rock doing what The Rock is typically known to do, work out and fight. We see Emily Blunt doing what we've known her to do, which is be a phenomenal actress alongside of The Rock. Now, if you haven't heard, The Rock has gotten some amazing notoriety in regards to his performance in this film. Not from a fighting or a physical standpoint, which is amazing. This guy is like yoked out of his mind in this movie, similar to the way he was in Pain and Gain. But because of his actual acting performance in this film, he is much more toned down than his usual persona, right? And he's also wearing a slight bit of prosthetics, I would imagine, because his face definitely looks different than his usual swag. Based on who he's portraying and how he's acting as this person, it seems like Mark Kerr was a very soft-spoken, well-mannered, understanding, empathetic, sympathetic, and caring individual, which is a bit opposite what you think that type of a fighter, especially in the infancy, if you will, of the UFC, would have been like. And having no idea who Mark Kerr was in this regard prior to seeing this film, it was nice to kind of see someone like that in this realm juxtaposed from what our stereotypes of that person may be. And I think that The Rock played that off very well. Throughout the film, I was kind of waiting for him to snap. I'll get to the reasons why in a minute, but he never does. And I thought that was awesome because as I'm watching this guy go through everything he's going through, I'm thinking to myself, this is something that I probably would want to show my son when he grows up. Now, if I had to sum up what this movie is based on the plot, synopsis, things of that nature, this movie, like I said, is a biography. It's showcasing this man's life from point A to point B. Like quite literally the beginning of his career to here he is now just living as a normal civilian, okay? But this movie, looking at it, I'm like, is it a character study on a fighter? Is it a character study on lightweight addiction? Or is it maybe more of a character study on relationships and the demons that sometimes live within those relationships and how they can get you distracted, misled, and keep you from your goals? I'd probably say that this movie is that. It is a cautionary tale of who you should or should not have in your corner at certain times. And I say that because of the relationship that Mark Kerr has with his girlfriend, played by Emily Blunt, throughout the entire film. We can see certain things boiling to an eventual tipping point that you're like, whoa, dude, get out of this relationship quick, fast, in a hurry. This chick is going to bring you down in more ways than one. But this guy's got such a big heart and he's so forgiving and understanding that he just keeps stepping back into the fire, stepping back into the flames. And I think that we've all been in situations like that. I can tell you firsthand that I've been in situations extremely similar to a situation that Mark Kerr has with his girlfriend in this movie. And even in those moments, during that situation and after that situation, I'm telling myself, I am out, I'm done, that's it, no more. But guess what? We still ordered takeout and made it a blockbuster night. And I feel that as dedicated as this movie is showing us that Mark Kerr was as a fighter and as a boyfriend, that the relationship issues that he and Emily Blunt had going on throughout the film outweighed any of the real fighting aspects. Those things are there. You see a few people that are his team and his friends, and it's awesome to see them come to his aid when he needs them, showing real love, bond, and that network that fighters probably do have for sure. That's cool to see. But I feel again that this was more showcasing the issues that their relationship had. And then when it ends, and this is based on the true story, it ends in kind of a way where you're like, man, I kind of would have rather seen this relationship work its way out rather than just you telling me how it ended or how it is today. Because like I said, it took up so much of the film that is this the focal point or is him fighting the focal point? I don't know. The other thing is that as we know, athletes that get injured multiple times or have a hard time dealing with loss tend to lean on certain things for too long, and it eventually affects their ability to do what they do or even their health. He's dealing with some stuff like that in this film. That is also a focal point, a little bit less so than his relationship, but combined with the relationship, and it's not fully about that, right? So it's kind of going between all of those things, which makes sense. This is his life, but I just kind of feel like when we see it all together, there wasn't really that much that went down in regards to watching him overcome an amazing trial or tribulation. I'm pretty sure that the things that he dealt with in regards to some substance abuse, his relationship, some loss, and some training, those things, yeah, I'm sure that he worked crazy hard for good periods of time before he was able to overcome these things, bad business deals, and you name it. But the movie kind of glosses over those in a way. Neither one of those things is ever the true focal point other than this tumultuous relationship that builds to this crazy tipping point. So with all of those elements, I thought that The Rock handled them extremely well as an actor. I believed every bit of his performance. I think that his size that he built himself to for this role and the acting that came from it, the direction and the story overall and how it was told was way better than the 14 or 15 years that he spent getting ready for Black Adam. So kudos to him and the entire team for that. But I say all that to say that this movie for me was great from those standpoints. It was great from a directing standpoint. I know Benny Safdie shot this film in some IMAX. He shot maybe a little bit of digital, some 16 millimeter. So seeing his vibe and swag as far as the visuals are concerned was super fly. The way that he directed it as far as shot composition, blocking, all of that was very engaging, very captivating, made you feel like you were in this moment with the characters. I liked that. The music choice I thought was really good. The music choice was kind of a more jazzy, classical type feel to it that I think kind of fit the aesthetic of the film as well as the energy and the drama that the characters were bringing. So from a filmmaking standpoint, an acting standpoint, and just watching this character study of these different elements being handled and tackled from a person who is a fighter, yeah, it's a great movie. But it's also kind of a forgettable film. Like the real biggest moment in the film was this moment with his girlfriend because it's leading up to this. And then we know what the implications of that will have on him. You can kind of predict that. I mean, he's only human. I'm not trying to spoil everything that jumps off, but you know, that's the biggest thing. It's not even like the fight really. And then when there is the big fight at the end, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say much more. I don't want to spoil anything, but great movie, great acting, great directing, great aesthetic. The music was cool. It felt like a nice character study, but ultimately, at the same time, it was kind of forgettable, you know? I'm super glad to see that The Rock did this film and gave us something serious. I've been a huge fan of The Rock for many, many years, right? He started off a little rough, but then he did a couple of movies like Snitch and Faster, where he's showing you that he can act. He then knows where the money is at, so he's going to become a caricature of himself in many films. But this right here, I hope, is a turning point in his career where he is now going to step a little bit deeper into real characters, real story. things that aren't just showcasing how strong he is. We know this man is strong, but this man can also act, and he's also been through some ish. And I would love to see him pull out some of his emotion and put it into some characters. And I think that's what he did here. So while I would say this is a great movie from the technical standpoint, it's a great movie from an acting standpoint, I will say that I feel like the story was a bit all over, and there were things that outweighed the actual fighting and the drive and dedication that Mark Kerr had for that seemed a bit more interesting and like more of the highlight of the movie. Would I say that you need to rush out to the theater to go see this movie? Yes and no. Yes, because I do think that films like this need to be supported. We need more lower budget drama type movies, character studies. We need these back in the theaters for sure. But depending on who you are and what you got going on, you could potentially just catch this one on streaming and you'll be good with it, right? But from a film fan in me, you need to go check this one out in the theater. It is going to be something that you can think about, talk about, and might sit with you just a little bit. I don't know. That's all I got for you right now. I hope I gave you enough to entice you to want to check this movie out at some point in time, maybe even dip out to the theater. If you have seen this, comment below. Let me know what you thought. Am I completely off base? It's all good for us to disagree, but let's open up that line of discourse. You feel what I'm saying? Let's have at it. Your homie, Jay Green, I'm out.